welcome back to the garden at home. I'm sat in the greenhouse. It is a lovely evening. It has been a lovely day. I came out here this morning with a cup of tea and because it was warmer in here than it was in my house, and I didn't want to put the heating on because I spend too much money on compost. And it got me inspired to get out there and start getting some work done in the garden at home. So I went into the front garden and my job was to weed and mulch, because Mark took the last of the raised bed planters that we had that he made out of pallet collars a couple of years ago, and he took those apart, which was the plan. And so the big pots that were going to be growing in down the side of the fence at the allotment, they then got filled up with compost, so they need emptying before I can take those to the allotment. So I've decided to use the spent compost as a mulch for the front garden. I will probably get some well-rotted manure as well, but for now this will do really well. So I went to the front garden and I showed you just how weedy things have got. It's not too bad. Things need cutting back, but I'm still not doing the majority of that yet because of the habitat for bugs and frost protection. But I did manage to get some of the weeds out, and then I mulched the centre part of the bed. The centre bed in the middle where the conference pear is. That conference pear is absolutely full of buds at the moment. I cannot wait until it flowers. So I've been thinking a lot about the front garden because last year, if you didn't see it, I did a video about our front garden and sort of making it more cottage garden style. It's our best performing video actually. People seem to really like that one, and I love cottage garden styles. My house is a 1930s semi, it's not a cottage at all, but you know, I love that planting style, and the idea of the cottage garden style is so that it will be quite low maintenance. It might look high maintenance with lots and lots of plants crammed in there, but actually if you plant in quite densely, you've got less weeds growing. And whilst I don't want a garden that requires no maintenance, I would never want that. I want to be able to devote plenty of time to the allotment. So I want a nice established cottage garden in a couple of years, 2 or 3 years. So this year is really about finding out what worked and what didn't. And because I want it to be low maintenance, I'm going to go with plants that thrive naturally in that environment and not try and make things work that don't work. So it's really important that I look at what's grown well and really decide where we're going to go. Now it's early in the season yet, so some things haven't grown back, some things won't come back, no doubt. My echinaceas will not come back. Echinaceas do not work for me. I absolutely love them and I'm desperate to make them work, but that's just, you know, putting all that energy into growing something that really doesn't want to grow. I mean, where's the sense in that? But maybe one day we'll get one that works. The slugs just absolutely love them, don't they? They just get devoured before I can even get them, or they just don't come back the following year. So, but I'm giving up on that. I'm giving up on echinaceas. I think we'll find some alternatives. But yeah, so going with what works is going to be the best way to do it. And so like things like salvias and Shasta daisies, for example, really work. So it's going to be about introducing different varieties of those plants, finding some variety within a type of plant and hoping that will work. It feels like spring, doesn't it? It feels like spring today. I can feel the sun on my back and it's so nice. It's so nice. So I'm hoping it's going to be this nice. Now it is around 6 o'clock and it is it 6 o'clock? It might be 5. I don't know what time it is. You're on my phone. We're here in the greenhouse at the moment. It is 18.1 degrees. It's been 35.4 and 5.5. So we're still seeing those massive big swings, but everything seems to be coping absolutely fine with it. I mean, I've only got things outside that are hardy. I wouldn't be putting anything that's not hardy outside, because yeah, it won't do well. But yes, I'm hoping we're going to get a few sunny days actually to help these not be quite so leggy. Honestly, this is what we wait all winter for, isn't it? Anyways, I did manage to get into the greenhouse a little bit on Saturday actually and get some organising done because I wanted to have space for this extra tray of seedlings. They're still getting leggy even though they're out here, and some of the leggier ones are Swede actually, so I'm going to resow those. Because if you saw Danny's video on Swede, you know we don't want to be letting the leggy ones carry on. We might as well just start again. Leeks are coming up. brassicas are getting their true leaves now. Again, some of those are a bit leggy, some of the chards got a bit leggy. Yeah. And our onions, long red Florence, Elsa Craig and multi-sword long red Florence. They're all looking good. Yeah, loving those brassicas. Very straggly sweet peas of mine there. And the ones I got from B&M last week. And they're my salvias. I cut my salvias back, so they're looking good. They've had a water. Now over at this side, turn you around slowly, I don't want to make you dizzy. This looks really scabby over here, doesn't it? But they are Alstroemeria. That's not. That is an erysimum. I don't know if it's going to survive. But these are, yeah. And they've been looked after. They've died back, obviously, because they're herbaceous. But yeah, I'm hoping that they're going to do well. Because I do have some Alstroemeria in the front garden and they love it. They're very happy where they are. So I'm hoping introducing more, it will be good. Hi, so it's Tuesday afternoon and there's a few bits that I didn't show you yesterday that I'm going to show you today. So my front garden, I was working on that yesterday. Now underneath the front room window is quite a shady area and I struggle to get things to thrive there. Now part of the garden decluttering that we've been doing is removing a lot of the plants that are growing in pots. Now last year I added a few new roses to my collection. I got some David Austin bare root roses, I got Septidile, Generous Gardener, Gertrude Jekyll. Gertrude Jekyll and Generous Gardener are climbers that are going to grow up my arch, hopefully. They didn't do much growing up anyway last year, but hopefully they will this year. And Septidile is at the end of the garden, which is a much sunnier spot. And I also got Buttercup, but I think if I remember rightly I got Buttercup potted a bit later on in the year, but that was absolutely beautiful. They were all lovely flowers, but yes. So I also got the Lady's Blush, which I didn't know where I was going to put it at that point, so I actually put it in a pot and I've had it in the garden over winter in a pot and it did well. It flowered, it was very lovely. Repeat flowered quite a few times. I always think that about David Austin roses. I always find that in their first year they do a lot more flowering than maybe other roses do. I don't only buy David Austin though, I do love other kinds of roses as well. But so I decided, I've been looking the rose up to find where it's best, and actually it can tolerate some shade, so I've decided to plant it under the front room window. So yesterday I weeded the area under there. I took out the large salvia that was there, Royal Bumble, that salvia. It's a lovely plant, but last year we had some work done and the workman, when he came, it was getting in his way because it's planted too close to the path. It was not in a good place anyway. It was getting in his way, so he pretty much threw his tool bag on it and snapped it. He did it in front of me as well, like it was nothing, like it didn't matter. It's just a plant, yeah. Anyway, so I took that out and it sort of revealed the Acer that my parents bought me last year. They got me a little, I think it was like a £4 Acer from a supermarket, and it's a lovely little red-leaved Acer. I can't remember what variety it is, but it's the first time that an Acer has survived my garden over winter without any kind of damage to it. And I think the salvia being there in front of it's kind of protected it from the worst of the wind, because as I've said before, this is a very exposed garden. We're about 500 feet above sea level and there's nothing to the back of us. There's some trees over at the end of the field, but beyond that there's a valley and a dip, and then the closest thing to us is the tops of Huddersfield, and so it's very windy here, and my driveway goes up that way and it's like a wind tunnel, and so the wind sort of does swirly things, you know, swirly things in the garden in the back, and then it goes up the wind tunnel and does swirly things in the front as well. I should have been a meteorologist, shouldn't I? And so the Acers that do survive often end up getting damaged, or the new leaves in spring get damaged and then they just look rubbish all year. So now my neighbours next door had a beautiful red Acer. Well, they still do, but it got frosted a couple of years ago. It got damaged, and I think it was the really icy winds. It was a shame because it's a really beautiful, quite established, tall, probably about 10 foot tall and then all of a sudden half of it's just died off. So it's still there, but it's half a tree now. It hasn't got that beautiful shape that acers have anymore. So yeah, but this one survived. Now last year we were lucky enough to be able to buy a touring caravan, and the caravan's parked on the drive, and although it does take out a fair bit of the light from the garden that comes over from the east, it also protects the front garden from the worst of the wind as well. I think that's what it's doing. So that acer, I mean, it's only this big, it's only about 6 to 8 inch tall, but I'm really hopeful that that's going to become a bit of a focal point of that section of the garden. I do have another acer at the other side where the Japanese anemones are, and that's lovely too. I think that's Orange Dream. That's a few years old now, but it is a bit swamped by the Japanese anemone, so I think probably I really need to get the Japanese anemones out from around it. I really want to shrink the anemones down this year because they are a bit thuggish. They're beautiful and I absolutely love them, but I really, plus my mum would like some more, so I'll dig some up and give them to her, because anytime I dig any out she's like, I'll have them, so winner, eh? So yes, so I'm hoping that the acers will do better in the front garden now, and so I've got lots of planting opportunities for that front bit, and I do want to plant some salvias in that area, and I'll think about other plants that maybe will do well. Penstemons, leucanthemums. I've got some aquilesias there, and I always get poppies. I've got other poppy seeds that I could sow in the area as well, because they do well and then they self-seed for years and years and years. I've got a couple of little violas popping up as well. We get a lot of self-seeded violas in the garden. But yeah, I've got a couple of salvias here, and maybe some alstroemeria as well, because the alstroemeria that I've got already do really well in the front garden, and I think that would be quite nice. Yeah. Now, on to less nice things. Our little friend that has been burrowing in the garden, it seems to have moved to the top raised bed, and the holes that it's making are quite large. There is no mound. There are moles in the field behind the house, but it's not a mole. We have had the mole in the garden, which I don't mind the mole in the garden, right? I'd prefer him not to dig up my lawn, but you know, he's a cute little creature and he's got to live somewhere, hasn't he? But I think it's a rat, and as much as rats have got to live somewhere, I would really rather it wasn't living in my borders, in my little garden. So I need to do what I can to disturb it and hope it will move on. What I think I need to do is dig everything out of the borders that I can, probably leave the rose and the wisteria, and everything else probably needs to come out so that I can see what's going on, and maybe he'll move out if I damage his house. I feel really bad damaging his house, but it's, you know, it's a rat, if it is a rat, you know. The holes are about like that, and I don't think a mouse is going to make a hole that big, or a vole or a field mouse, whatever. So yeah, I don't know what to do about that. So if you do know of any ways that you can sort of put them off, anything that they don't like, that I can plant or use. I don't want to use anything toxic, anything that's going to kill anything. I don't want to do anything like that. I don't want to harm anything. But if I can discourage him, that would be better. He'll probably move into my house, won't he? I'll probably get him out of my borders and he'll find a nice cosy, nice cosy foundations under the house. But yeah, I hope not. Well, I've been thinking about this border a lot. Now, don't mind about that mound of compost, it's not a mole, that was me emptying pots. So yes, so Erysimum is coming back, I think. I just need to cut that back. Some things are working. There's 2 hardy geraniums there. That one's summer skies or sunny skies, and that one's a different one. That one's not sunny skies. So I do need to probably dig one of those out and separate them a little bit, because I know how big hardy geraniums can be. There we've got a little hole at the back under there, where that dead rose is, under the alliums. Obviously don't mind the alliums. And yeah, so I've been thinking about this border. Now I was going to send one of my, I've got 2 peach Melba roses. This is one I bought last year, specifically for the allotment, because I thought that this one had died. Now it will if I don't get it planted, but this is the one that was growing up the side of the house, and it's always been a really good rose. So what I'm going to do is probably just going to cover that in compost and sort of heal it in for a bit while I get this border sorted, because I think there's English mist there, or what it's supposed to be, and I like I've said many times, I don't think it is actually that. And then we've got the one here that didn't survive, so I'm thinking of putting peach melba around here and growing it up a trellis or something against the fence here. But obviously I need to sort this border out first before I can do that. This is Salvia Amistad, but I'm not sure if it's going to come back. I won't know for a while, so I'm just leaving it as it is for now. Some of my rose cuttings. So something that I did get done yesterday is I pruned all my roses. Now I'm a rose lover but not an expert by any standards, and I'm not really one for getting my pruning done when I showed it. This is Lady of the Lake, and it was not pruned as it should have been. So second or third time of not pruning it after it flowers, because it's a repeat flowering rambler. It's absolutely beautiful. If you are looking for a rambler, 100% recommend it. It flowered tons in its first year. I think, being the gardening geek that I am, I think I counted about 70 odd blooms, because yeah, I counted them, and they flowered for months. So it's a beautiful rose. It'll probably need a good mulch this year, and especially if the rat's going to be living, if it is a rat, because yeah, there you go, if you can see under there, something's burrowing under there, and that's quite a large little hole there. Large little hole. So yeah, but I did prune all the other roses, and I did it quite hard as well this year. I've got a new standard rose. This is the one that my parents got me for my birthday. It's been in the greenhouse. It's outside now. It does have buds on because it's been in the house and outside, so if we get a frost, yeah, they'll probably go. Oh dear, the fruit's all falling over. I'll have to sort that out in a minute. All the fruit I bought last year for the allotment, didn't cut anything back. Some of these are going to be given away, and some I am going to be growing in pots. Rose cuttings everywhere. Honestly, it's quite windy today as well, so they've blown about everywhere. But yeah, so I cut all my roses back. I cut some of the wisteria back as well, so some of the it didn't cut very well. My secateurs are not particularly good. Really need to get some so I can give things a clean cut so they don't get damaged. Will this flower this year? I really don't know. This is about 5 years old, this wisteria, but it's only been in the garden, in the actual border, for about, I think this might be its 3rd year. And it seems okay. It's not growing in the best shape, but you know, it's very windy. It's constantly battered by the wind. I need a better stake to straighten it up a little bit, but I am trying to grow it as a standard. I still need to get some of those cuttings that I've put there out of the way. My erysimums, I think I'm going to have to take them out, because although there is some new growth by the stems, I might be able to actually give it a really hard prune and see if it survives it. Hardy geraniums under here are okay. Aster, you know, the RHS have said that we're not going to have a bad year for slugs this year, and they're going to be less of them. So I'll believe it when I see it, but I am hopeful. Hopefully they are telling the truth. The sun's coming out. It's turning into a lovely day. All the daffodils in the field. It's really lovely. But yes, it is very, very windy. Very windy. Aquilesias are looking very healthy this year. I know some of you will view these as weeds, Granny's bonnet or columbine as they're also known, but I really like them. I really like them. And I can't remember what this is, but I love this too. But it won't be long. It won't be long until we start seeing even more greenery. The asters? No. What are they? I can't think of the name. Alliums. Silly sausage. They're growing up. Oh look, Japanese anemones. Now there is a hardy geranium under there, or there should be, but I can't see it. Yeah, I might have been swamped out by other things. I think this, we'll see how this alyssum does as well, because these tend to get very woody as well, and then they look a little unsightly when they get woody. A little bit of sunshine, it's lovely, isn't it? So it's Wednesday afternoon, and I'm not going to spend long in here today because it is 33 degrees. I'm going to have a go at cutting back those erysimums, perennial wallflowers, just to see if they survive. If not, I'll replace them, because honestly they're very, very woody. And I've been reading about how I should have done things, so I know for now. And with that in mind, I've been and done my food shop today. I've been doing all those boring food shop and housework kind of things that are necessary, unfortunately. But I did cheer myself up. I did buy some plants. These are from Home Bargains. These were $2.99, and this is Spring Breeze Copper. I'll show you the label. There you go. You see that? Looks nice. It looks like it's going to be. It looked like it was going to be purple anyway, but it doesn't now. I've got it home. So I got 2 of those. Quite like the snazzy little purple pots as well. I could have got more, but the others looked a little bit. You know what it is? If you're in the UK, you'll know what sort of. Sometimes the B&M and Home Bargains of the world, the plants can be great, but sometimes they're not always well maintained. And then I got a favourite of mine. This is an Abretia. It is kitty blue. It looks that colour on the label, but I think we can see that it's not that colour. But it is lovely, and Abretia does really well in my back garden, but it doesn't do so well in the front garden. So Abretia likes alkaline soil, which is what I've got, but it also likes free draining. It's an alpine, and so it doesn't want to get waterlogged. And I think the front garden, it just doesn't do so well, but I still might do it. Now, there was a huge queue. I went around lunchtime, which was a mistake because it's in the town centre, and I was in the queue for about 20 minutes. But when I was coming out of the shop, I realised they'd restocked the plant racking while I'd been in there, and they had loads more that I didn't see. So they were $1.99 the Abretia. So I'm tempted to nip back. Really thinking about it, because they had some different colours, and £2 for an Abretia this size I think was quite reasonable. I don't know what size pot that is. It's probably 11 centimetres across. Yeah, so, and my mum would like some as well for that price. Shall I go back? Find out in a minute, won't you? I went back, of course I did. Was there ever any doubt? No, there's no doubt for me anyway. So I did buy a few more alpines, and I will show you what I got. I got another Abretia in this colour. I'll show you for comparison the one I got the other day. So it's similar but different. I got my mum one of these as well. I got those. And then I got a few Arabis. I've got some Arabis in the back garden. They seem to be very liked by slugs. They're being devoured, but they're coming back. So I've got a couple, a white one and a purpley pink one that are the same variety. And then I've got a different kind. This just says alpines on the label, so I don't know what variety of Arabis they are, but this is slightly different. It seems to have bigger leaves, but it's the same sort of colour. Now, I saw some of these at another garden centre today, because I've been to another garden centre, and I'll show you that in a minute as well. And one of these that was probably twice the size, probably a 2 litre pot. This is a 1 litre pot. Probably a 2 litre pot was £13, and this was 2, so I'll stick with the £2 ones, I think. I got an armeria. These always work in the back garden for me. I'm going to plant this in the front garden because they're alpines. They're like rocky, free draining soil. So my front garden is not like that, so it doesn't always work. But something that does work in the front garden is creeping phlox, and this is Emerald Cushion Blue. So it looks like it's got purple flowers, which looks really nice. And then I got 2 Saxifraga. Now, one of them is called Lime Rock, and that is this one. This one doesn't have a variety name written on, it's just mixed. They're all £2, $1.99. So that's it for the Home Bargains plants. Then I went to a garden centre today. Now, it's one of those big garden centres that sells all the furniture and is a little expensive. So the first things I picked up, got some tomato seeds. I got the variety Burlesque, because before I had children, I was a singer, and I used to sing at burlesque events now and again. And I've heard good things about the tomato. I didn't just buy them because of the name, but my mum pointed them out, and I was like, oh yeah, I've heard of those. So they do look good. I also told you last time that I needed some more calendula, and I got this. This is funky stuff, and I thought it looked nice. It looks very open and pollinator friendly. There are 45 seeds in there, so I'm sure that'll be okay, and then I will save my own seed for next year. And then lastly, on the seeds, I've got this sunflower. I said I wanted a darker one, so I've got this. This is Black Magic. Now, it's an F1, which is a bit of a shame because I would like to save the seeds, but it is what it is, and I really liked that one. Before we move on to the rest of the plants, I've also got this. I have replaced the Jerusalem artichokes that went off. This is Fuso. It's the same variety. Now, this was £4 for 2 tubers. I paid about, I think it was £10 for 6 tubers that I paid before, but they went off. So, but I don't think that was anything to do with the seller. That was just my storage. So I'm going to get those planted out soon. There's a few things I want out next week at the allotment, and I think they're going. So one thing that does do really well in my front garden is violas, and they self-seed freely now. These are F1 varieties, so I'm not sure what will happen with these, whether we'll get some random hybridizing. This is Pink Wing, and this is Purple Picotea, both F1s, but I thought they were really quite nice. Then I got a few little plants. So I got this herb. This is spearmint. This is for a pot. A pot. Promise you, it's for a pot. I then got this. I've never had feverfew before, but I like the daisy flowers, and it is edible. But I have been reading about it because I know nothing about it. And if you eat the leaves, they can make your mouth sore and have sores and stuff. But it's good for tea, apparently, for migraines. Thankfully, I don't have migraines, but it's one to learn more about, I think. Now, the next one is this oxeye daisy. Now, I really like these. I've never had them, but I do really like them. They're a wildflower, um, and I'm hoping that they will, self seed. I'm probably going to take. I don't know if I'm going to take them to the allotment or if I'm going to have them at home. Definitely want one at home at least, but we'll see. These plants are from a big garden centre, and these are two of my favourite plants ever, I think. They are scabious. And this one is Butterfly Blue Beauty, which I think I already have. And this one, let me put this one down, is Wallerton's Pink Mist. Wallerton's Pink Mix. No, Walberton's. And this one is Walberton's Pink Mix. Pink Mist. Oh my god. Walberton's Pink Mist. This one. Can't say it. And they're both very lovely. One's slightly more pink and one's slightly more blue. And yeah, you've got a funny one there. I forget what that's called. I always used to call it a fascination, but it isn't. It's fasciation. Fasciation. And yeah, it's really nice. They were £12 each though, which is I think is quite a lot for a scabious. Um, but they do really well in my front garden. So go with what works. Those are for the area where the rose has gone in and where the salvia's come out. So because the rose is lady's blush and it's pink, I want to plant a lot of pinks and purples and whites in that area. I think that's going to be very much the theme for the front garden: pink, peach, purple, white. Probably a little bit of lemon in there as well. So yeah. Next, it's heavy. Da, 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 da. A green pot of joy. That's right, it's a David Austin rose. This is a rose that I've been wanting for a while. It's been on my wish list. And I saw it today and it seemed like a nice specimen, so I thought, yes, I'm having it. And it is one that I nearly bought last year, but I decided to go with Sceptred Isle instead because I liked the open rose shape of that one. I liked how it was nice and open for pollinators. This one looks lovely too, and I've heard that this has got a very upright growth habit and the flowers are very upright. It's getting windy. And it is Queen of Sweden. I'm going to stop doing that. Queen of Sweden. And I am very happy to have this. Let me show you up close. I am very happy to have this rose. Obviously, David Austin roses are not cheap, but I do think they're an investment in your garden. I think that for me, they have done better than any of the other roses that I've got. I've got other roses that are not David Austin. Some have done really well, some haven't done as well. Um, sorry, things are blowing around my garden and my kids are throwing things around as well. Um, the other one other rose that has done as well as a David Austin rose, I would say, is Peach Melba. But other than that, and Wollerton Old Hall didn't do very well, but I think that was to do with where I put it. Not, it was in a really big planter, but I think really it needed more than I gave it, and I didn't cut it back either. I didn't prune it, so you reap what you sow, or what you don't prune. That's that, and I am really happy with what I've got. I've got my oldest is trying her best to get in this video. He keeps poking around the corner. I keep having to stop and start. Cannot film when my kids are around. So other things for the front garden to put in the gaps, I've got the Sedum Autumn Joy. I've got the two salvias I showed you earlier from last year, and I've been looking up the alstroemeria that I'd got because I'd completely forgotten what variety it was, and it is Butterfly Hybrids, which is a purple colour. So the area, like I said, I want it to be very pinks and purples and white. I would like another Shasta daisy, maybe a crazy daisy again, like I have at the allotment. I have seen them as bare roots, so I might be making a purchase of those. I know they come back. I know they do well in the front garden. The only downside to that area is it is quite shady, like I said, because our caravan's next to it and because it's north facing and it's closest to the house. It does get evening sun, but it doesn't get much in the morning, or any really. And but we'll just see how things go. We'll just see how things go. So thank you very much for being with me this week. I apologize again for the late video, but I will see you in a few days. I'm going to go to the allotment next week because it's the last week before the kids break up. So I'm going to have to get some stuff done. So join me for that. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.